do it.
Right. We turn the TV down?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all. You're all right.
I was on the clue to go outside.
Yeah, exactly. Don't. Yeah, you did good. Pretty obvious. And the door's closed. How you doing? What, are you related? To,
Yeah, I was just gonna
vaccine? Okay. Well, she's taking her own life, it looks like. She's been diagnosed with anything that you know of?
For requests. Yeah, someone requested one of the Childcraft books. We got a good random one. We already read it. I wasn't gonna read it on video, but someone requested that we do that. Yeah, there was a lot of requests. I don't always.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Yeah, if I did all the requests, I mean, that's all I would do, and I'd never get close to them all. Just the ones from the last 5 minutes, from when I started talking. Last minute and 20 seconds. Yeah, I'd spend all day just doing the requests that just popped up. Alexa, classical reading music, please.
The station, Classical Focus, free on Amazon Music.
Yes, thank you. You're welcome. All right, we are reading from Children Everywhere. This is page 88. It's called The Magic Stone. Yeah, so in the request box when I saw The Children Everywhere, page 88, The Magic Stone. So I'll do that one. Alright. By John M. Ibagonia and M. Dobrin. Illustrations by K. Francis Mansky. These are written in the 60s, I believe. Chicago, London, Paris, Sydney, Tokyo, Toronto. (1981), 1959. So yeah, looks like it goes between late 50s and the early 80s. Kenya is a small country in East Africa. Let's see the picture. Kenya is a small country in East Africa. Most of the people are farmers. Those in this story are members of the Kissi tribe who live near Lake Victoria. When night falls, the children of the village often gather together around a fire, one of the small mud huts. It is story time. What kind of tale will grandmother tell tonight? It shows there a little picture on the map where it is, and it's flag colors. Yeah, maybe we'll wear those colors today in honor of story time. It is story time. What kind of tale will grandmother tell tonight? A story. I am coming. Whenever grandmother uttered these words, the children immediately stopped their chattering and turned towards her. There she sat high above the fire on a bed of long, straight sticks stuck into the mud walls on either side. The sticks were tied with ropes and covered with a thick cowhide, so grandmother would be comfortable. The children often slept in grandmother's hut, and many preferred it to their own homes. Of course, they helped with the chores, such as fetching water and carrying firewood. But where also could they taste such delicious food or hear so many interesting stories? Grandmother spent much time of the day sitting in the sun, puffing on her old clay pipe, but she always cooked a large pot of thin, tasty gruel to give the children when they returned from working on her farm. Grandmother was still a fine-looking woman, and strong for her years. She held herself tall and straight, as she was used to carrying baskets with wood and fruit on her head. When she was tired, her back would bend a little, but this did not really matter, as she now had grandchildren to carry things for her. Her old legs were still strong and showed the firm muscles she had developed from all the walking she had done up and down the hills of Kisii in Kenya. Round each ankle she wore a metal bracelet which showed she was a married woman. Supper time was just before sunset. When the children had eaten and cleared away the remains of the meal, they lay down to sleep round the fire on mats made of soft cowhide. When they kept chattering and would not go to sleep, Grandmother knew just the way to keep them quiet. She began to tell them a story. When Grandmother told her stories, no one moved from the bed because they were so interesting. But it was also well known that anybody who left his bed while a story was being told would never grow again. So no one stirred, and when the story was finished, those who were still awake would cry out, "Now I shall grow as tall as Mount Semeta." Even tonight, in many huts in the Kisii highlands of Kenya, an old woman will climb into her bed, look down at her grandchildren and say, "A story, I am coming." This is one of the stories she might tell. Once there lived two brothers. One was very rich and the other was very poor. The rich brother, Metasura, lived on an island in Lake Victoria. This island had mountains of salt on it. Metasura became wealthy by selling the salt to the people of Kisii who had no salt of their own. But Joseph, the other brother who lived at the edge of the lake, had no salt to sell. There was little rain and his crops never grew well. All he had was one wife and 7 very hungry children. One day, Joseph's wife began to cry. "Why are you crying?" he asked her, as he sat on his hunches beside her. "Do you want us to die?" she asked him in between her sobs. "There's no food, and we're starving. Our old cow no longer gives milk, and she's too thin for us to eat. Our garden is empty. I've planted and hoed, but there's still no food, and our maize is turned rotten on the stalk." Joseph tried to comfort his wife, but he could not pacify her. His grinding stomach kept her mind only on one thing. "Why don't you go to Metasura?" she continued. "You can ask him for some money. He's very rich and can easily give you money so you can buy us some food." Thinking about her words, Joseph shook his head slowly. "My brother only loves money and he doesn't like to give any away. All day, from sunrise to sunset, he sits in his house and counts his cash. Even if I could pay him back sometime, he would not give me any of his money. But we both know that I would never be able to return the loan." "Try," said his wife, crying. "He is your brother. Maybe he'll give you the money. Otherwise, we'll all die of hunger." Joseph agreed to ask his brother, and that afternoon he set out for Metasura's island. He walked across the dusty plains. There were very few animals about as they had moved farther south in search of food. The few blades of grass were burned down. Some trees struck out, stark and bare above the loose sand. An occasional breeze from the lake blew the sand around in swirls, hurting Joseph's eyes, and he continued his journey across the hot plains. Before sunset, he reached probably one reason they wear those things around their heads, huh? An occasional breeze from the lake blew the sand around in swirls, hurting Joseph's eyes as he continued his journey across the hot plains. Before sunset, he reached the beach opposite the island, and as he could not cross over the night, he fell asleep by the shore near the lapping water, which was full of crocodiles. The next morning, when he awoke under the rising sun, he began to build the boat so he could cross the blue water. He cut a few small trees and tied the logs together with strong grass to make a raft. This work took a long time, but he was weak from lack of food and from strong heat in the sun. Finally, the task was completed and he set out for the island, paddling the raft across the lake. When he reached the island, he went to his brother's home. Metasira was sitting in his large house counting his money and arranging the coins into numerous piles. When Metasira saw Joseph standing in the doorway, he quickly threw a cloth over the slacks. He quickly threw a cloth over the stacks of money and said in a stern voice, "What are you doing here?" Joseph quietly walked into the room. "My brother, I need your help," he began. "There's been no rain this year and our crops have failed. I have no money to buy food for my wife and children and they're starving. Will you please lend me some of your money and I'll try to pay it back as soon as I can." After hearing this speech, Metasira began to laugh. "Do you expect me to give you money?" he shouted. "Why, I've hardly enough to keep me happy. If I give you some, I wouldn't have nothing to do in the afternoons. My greatest pleasure in life is counting my money, and why should I give you money? You're a lazy man. But I'll give you something just to show you how kind I am, even though you don't deserve anything. Here's a loaf of bread. Now don't ever return here again." He finished handing him a large stale loaf. Knowing it was useless to pursue the subject, Joseph sadly took the loaf of bread and began his journey home. He rode across the lake and started walking along the dusty paths. Before he had gone very far, Alexis, Volume 1. Before he had gone very far, he encountered an old man with a long gray beard and ragged clothes. "What have you there?" the old man asked, pointing to the loaf of bread. "Just one loaf of bread, old man," answered Joseph. "I haven't eaten for 3 days." "Won't you give me some?" begged the old man. "My family needs this bread," he said to the old man. "But so does this old man," he said to himself. "He looks as if he will die if he doesn't eat soon." Joseph handed him half the loaf. "Thank you," said the old man. "You're a kind man, and because of your kindness, I shall help you." He took a round stone from his pocket. "This stone will give you anything you desire," he said, "but you must wish wisely." Joseph thanked the old man and ran the rest of the way to his home, carrying the round stone in his pocket and the bread in his hand. His wife and children were near death when he reached home. He gave them the bread and told them about the old man. "Let's wish for food then," said Joseph's wife, "because we're starving." They wished hard, and in a moment the kitchen and garden were full of food. The pawpaw tree sprouted fruit. Pineapples, carrots, tomatoes, maize, and spinach sprang from the dusty earth. Suddenly, 10 chickens appeared and all started to lay eggs. The old cow appeared to be bursting with milk, and 5 calves appeared beside her. In the house there were loaves of fresh bread and gourds full of oils and fats. So someone in class is asking, now we all know he didn't rub a stone and that just all appeared. What do you think happened? I think some people who maybe had some wealth saw how mean and horrid the brother was. And then they saw the thing with the old man. And when he went home and they rubbed that stone and wished for food, they did some magic of their own and sent some chickens that way and made it appear. That's probably what happens. We see it still happen in today's time, don't we? Yeah, do unto others, I suppose. Yeah, so someone in class was just wanting to expound on that so people don't think they're just going to rub a rock and something is actually going to appear. We know that that can't really happen. That some good folks, probably maybe Christian church members, or I don't, could have been the Jewish ones too, you know, they might have been one and of the same. Yeah, I think just over time, you know, some are more yeah, we become kind of occupational. We have police, citizens, game wardens. Some have more authority than others, more capabilities. You have state workers, emergency services, EBT, right, these forces that get a lot of money to pass out and distribute to the people as they see fit. Oh, look at that, we have this page marked. Good request. Yeah, I agree with you. Full of oils and fats, the family was delighted. What else shall we wish for? Asked Joseph's wife. Our neighbors are so hungry, replied Joseph. Let's wish for food for them too. The neighbors' gardens soon became as plentiful as their own. Our children don't have any clothes or shoes. Let's wish for those, said Joseph's wife. Immediately clothing appeared in the neat rows laid out before them. Shoes stood shining in a long line, so that wish came true as well. Like in The Little Princess, yes. And he kind of makes it all appear overnight while she's sleeping, and they wonder how in the world all of those goodies and nice warm comforter and soft muffins just appeared. And they thought that they had wished for it, and it happened. It's like magic. The news of Joseph's sudden wealth spread across the district and reached Metasira on his island. He was mad with envy. He could not let Joseph remain richer than himself, so he decided that he would steal his brother's money and possessions. How awful. Metasira crossed the lake in his own boat and went to Joseph's house. There he looked into the window and watched the happy family. He saw Joseph take out the magic stone and say, I wish for a new brick schoolhouse. So that's how he does it, said Metasira. I must steal the stone. He watched Joseph put the stone under a pillow. Later that night, when everyone was asleep, he crept into the house, and he took the stone from under the pillow and quietly stole out of the house. He ran to the lake, jumped into his boat, and started to row away, but he could not wait until he reached his island before he began to wish. If I had all the salt in the world, I could make a lot of money, he thought. Everyone would come to me for salt, and I could charge a lot for it. Then he said, I wish for all the salt in the world. Salt came pouring down from the sky as if it were rain. It fell on the boat in a heavy mass, and soon the boat was filled with salt, and still it continued to rain down. Realizing what was happening, Metasira cried, Stop! But it was too late. The boat sank to the bottom of the lake, and no more was heard of the greedy Metasira. The people of Joseph's village lived happily for the rest of their lives. The food in their gardens helped them through the dry years, and soon they learned how to grow more better crops and how to store up grain for a lean period, so they never starved again. You're welcome. Yes, thank you. It was a beautiful day. Oh, there's a little bee. I see you, little bumblebee. I got a little baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I got a little baby. Did you subscribe to all 3 channels? And you have to be a public subscriber. That's the only way you might win it. Did you see how the 12 kind of looks like a triton? I like the strap too. Yeah, it's nice.
She'll come, she'll talk to y'all, and we'll go from there. tell you that now. Yes, I would